In the world of high-profile figures, the line between truth and rumor often becomes blurred, especially when it involves someone as influential as music mogul P. Diddy. Recently, Diddy has found himself at the center of a legal storm, facing serious allegations of racketeering, sex trafficking, and witness tampering. As the story unfolds, a troubling narrative is emerging, one that suggests Diddy may be attempting to manipulate the legal process from behind bars. Claims of questionable medical treatment and escape plans are adding fuel to the fire, raising suspicions about whether Diddy is truly ill or using health concerns as an excuse to secure special treatment. This is a story of power, influence, and desperation, where the stakes are high and the line between survival and justice is growing ever more tenuous. In this exploration, we'll delve into the motives behind Diddy's actions and the potential consequences of his attempts to evade justice. The custody status of P. Diddy. More than just a celebrity. Most people don't know this, but P. Diddy, whose real name is Sean Combs, is not simply being held like the average inmate. He is under the primary custody of U.S. Marshals because he is currently in a pre-trial status awaiting further legal proceedings. This means that the normal bureaucratic protocols followed by the Bureau of Prisons do not apply to him in the same way they would to other incarcerated individuals. His legal team, including his attorney, Mark Anifilo, has continuously fought to get him out on bail, but each request has been denied, keeping him under lock and key since his arrest back in September. However, that hasn't stopped Diddy from trying to play his cards to his advantage. The U.S. Marshals are typically tasked with overseeing individuals who are awaiting trial or are being transported across different detention centers. As such, they are responsible for the safe custody of inmates like Diddy, who have not yet been convicted of any crimes. While he's being detained in the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn, New York, the U.S. Marshals oversee the security and movement of these high-risk individuals, especially when they are taken out of the facility, as Diddy was recently. This particular detail about his custody status is crucial because it sheds light on the gravity of the situation. Diddy is not just any ordinary inmate. His every move is under intense scrutiny. And when that scrutiny involves an escape attempt, the stakes are raised considerably. The alleged escape plan. A desperate move? According to recent reports, Diddy may have tried to orchestrate an escape while he was being transported for medical care. On January 30th, Diddy allegedly reported having a problem with his knee, an injury that has reportedly plagued him for years. While knee issues might seem mundane on the surface, this situation was far from ordinary. Diddy had previously undergone multiple surgeries for this very issue, and even publicly documented his struggles with knee pain, including a particularly significant surgery in 2017. In a now-deleted Instagram post, he shared an emotional message about the 3 surgeries he had undergone, including a third attempt to fix his knee after the first 2 failed. But what's even more curious is the timing and nature of Diddy's medical treatment. Rather than being treated for his knee during the day, as would be typical for most inmates, Diddy was reportedly taken to a Brooklyn hospital under the cover of darkness at around 10 p.m. His medical visit was to undergo an MRI, a diagnostic tool that helps determine the extent of the injury. It's worth noting that most non-emergency medical procedures like MRIs are scheduled during normal business hours, from around 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., or, at the very latest, up until 6 p.m. So, why was Diddy moved at such an unusual time? The timing of Diddy's medical transfer. Suspicious or strategic? At first glance, it might appear that this was just a coincidence or a necessary logistical decision. However, digging deeper into the timeline of events surrounding Diddy's transport reveals something more alarming. January 30th was also the day that an indictment was filed against him. This indictment included new charges related to sexual assault, adding a layer of seriousness to his already tumultuous legal situation. The question arises, was Diddy really in need of urgent medical attention, or was this an elaborate ploy to gain favor with authorities and attempt to escape the confines of the MDC? One of the most telling aspects of this case is the fact that Diddy's medical transfer took place at night, in what could be considered a deliberate effort to avoid attention. Given his celebrity status, it's almost certain that any movement involving Diddy would attract a crowd. Fans, media outlets, and onlookers would swarm the area if they knew he was being transported during the day. But a nighttime transfer minimizes the risk of unwanted attention, making it easier for him to slip through the cracks, so to speak. Moreover, such a move would also reduce the risk of outside interference. If Diddy's escape was truly planned, it would make sense to do so during a time when the fewest eyes would be on him. The decision to transport him to the hospital at such a late hour also raises another question. Could it have been part of a more elaborate escape strategy? Perhaps the timing was intentionally selected to avoid creating chaos, or perhaps there were other motives at play that are not immediately clear. The dangers of special treatment for high-profile inmates. One thing that stands out in this case is the special treatment Diddy received during his transfer. While this is not unusual for high-profile individuals, it raises concerns about how far authorities might go to accommodate someone of Diddy's status. Sources close to the situation suggest that the U.S. Marshals had to make extraordinary efforts to ensure his safety and to avoid unnecessary attention. A medical transport involving such a high-profile figure presents significant challenges. Security concerns are paramount, as is ensuring that Diddy doesn't come into contact with the press, fans, or any potential informants during the transfer. Interestingly, the timing of Diddy's hospital visit also suggests that there may have been an additional layer of strategy involved. While the average inmate would have been scheduled for an MRI during the daytime, Diddy's transfer took place in the middle of the night, perhaps to avoid the media frenzy or public scrutiny. The security staff and medical personnel who accompanied him were likely tasked with maintaining a low profile, ensuring that his every move remained undetected. It also raises the possibility that this was an attempt to avoid creating a spectacle and maintaining a sense of normalcy in an otherwise abnormal situation. Evidence and claims. Phone calls and alleged escape attempts to make matters even more complex. There are reports of Diddy attempting to contact his associates from inside the MDC. According to sources, the U.S. Marshals intercepted these phone calls, in which Diddy allegedly discussed plans to escape. In these conversations, he reportedly detailed how he was going to take advantage of his medical transfer to make his escape under the cover of night. This is where things get even more suspicious. Diddy's desperate desire to avoid prosecution is becoming increasingly clear. He's been trying to manipulate the system in every way possible, using everything from staged medical emergencies to contact with outside associates. And it seems that he may have been trying to buy himself time to destroy or hide evidence. Just a few weeks ago, he was heard telling associates that he was planning a major move to get out, hoping to avoid the consequences of the sexual assault charges he was facing. Even though Diddy's lawyer, Mark Anafilo, has refused to comment on any specifics regarding his medical issues or his movements, the signs point to a much more calculated approach. As the situation becomes more complicated, it's clear that Diddy's legal team is trying to maintain a tight grip on the narrative, avoiding public scrutiny wherever possible. However, the growing pile of evidence, phone calls, video recordings, and witness statements seems to suggest that Diddy is attempting something far more sinister than just seeking medical care. The role of politics and alleged connections. Perhaps most shockingly, some sources have hinted that Diddy's influence may extend beyond the music world and into the political sphere. Before the raid on his mansion, it was reported that Diddy had been given the key to New York by Mayor Eric Adams. The timing of this gesture raises several red flags. Could the mayor have been unaware of Diddy's alleged criminal activities? Or was there a deeper, more troubling connection at play? Some sources suggest that Diddy's ties to powerful individuals may be helping him navigate the legal system in ways that others might not be able to. With access to political figures and influential people, Diddy may be using his connections to shield himself from the full weight of the law. However, if his ties to politicians do indeed extend this far, it's worth questioning how deep this web of influence truly goes. The dark reality of Diddy's legal predicament. Diddy's fall from the glamorous world of celebrity to the grim conditions of federal detention is nothing short of shocking. Once a figure who dined with the elite, flew in private jets, and threw lavish parties at his mansions, Diddy now finds himself locked up in one of the most notorious and dangerous prisons in the country, the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. The MDC has garnered a reputation for its inhumane living conditions, rampant violence, and widespread mismanagement of inmates. In fact, there have been multiple deaths in the facility, with prisoners subjected to brutal physical assaults, unsanitary conditions, and inadequate medical care. For someone accustomed to the luxuries of celebrity life, this transition has been a jarring and seemingly impossible adjustment. Diddy's legal team, in an attempt to secure his release, has offered a staggering $50 million as a bail package. Despite the massive sum of money, the court has repeatedly denied his request. The prosecutors argue that his release would pose a significant danger to the community, citing evidence of his attempts to intimidate witnesses and tamper with evidence. They also point to his efforts to manipulate public perception of the case by influencing potential jurors and spreading favorable narratives about himself through his connections and powerful media presence. Attempts to influence the legal process. One of the most alarming aspects of this case is the claim that Diddy has been trying to manipulate the legal process from behind bars. Prosecutors have documented several instances where he allegedly reached out to family members and associates in an attempt to influence witnesses and jury pools. In recorded jailhouse phone calls, Combs is said to have directed his family members to contact potential victims and witnesses, urging them to create favorable narratives for him and to downplay the seriousness of the allegations against him. These actions, according to the prosecution, were not just attempts to manipulate public opinion, but also calculated efforts to influence the outcome of his trial. The idea of a powerful figure using their resources and influence to sway the legal system is not new, but it is particularly troubling in the case of someone facing such severe charges. Diddy's status as a well-known celebrity only amplifies the potential danger of his actions, as his efforts could potentially sway public opinion in a way that compromises the integrity of the judicial process. The prosecution's argument is further supported by evidence from Diddy's phone calls, which they believe can be used to support their case in chief. These calls not only provide insight into his efforts to influence witnesses, but also open the door for additional criminal charges to be filed against him for witness tampering and obstruction of justice. The medical emergency drama. Is it a legitimate health issue or a strategic move? Amidst the chaos of his legal battles, another issue has emerged: Diddy's reported health problems. According to his legal team, he has been experiencing significant knee pain, a condition that allegedly dates back to 2003 when he participated in the New York Marathon. Diddy has had multiple knee surgeries in the past, including 3 surgeries in 2017, and his legal team argues that his current condition requires urgent medical attention outside of the jail. This, however, has raised suspicions. The Metropolitan Detention Center is notorious for its poor medical care, and in the past, several inmates have died due to the lack of proper treatment. Notably, even high-profile inmates like Jeffrey Epstein were allegedly denied medical attention when needed. Given this context, Diddy's sudden medical emergency, which reportedly required him to be transported to a Brooklyn hospital in the middle of the night, has raised eyebrows. His attorneys insist that the MRI he underwent was necessary to address his knee issues, but many have questioned whether this is truly a legitimate medical concern or part of a broader strategy to escape the confines of the detention center. The timing of the medical visit is curious. Diddy was allegedly taken to the hospital at around 10 p.m. on January 30th, the same day his indictment was filed. Critics have pointed out that routine medical procedures like MRIs are typically conducted during regular business hours, not in the middle of the night. This anomaly, combined with the fact that Diddy was able to receive such special treatment while incarcerated, has fueled speculation that he may be using his health as an excuse to gain access to outside resources and continue his efforts to influence the legal proceedings. A glimpse into Diddy's mental state: anxiety, paranoia, and isolation. While the accusations against Diddy are grave, some have speculated that his actions may stem from a deeper psychological state of anxiety and paranoia. Former federal inmate Larry Levine, who now runs Wall Street Prison Consultants, offers a unique perspective on the situation. Levine, who served time in 11 different institutions across 5 states, believes that Diddy's behavior could be attributed to the immense stress and fear that comes with being incarcerated. Levine notes that many prisoners, especially those facing serious charges, experience profound anxiety and depression. In an environment as harsh as the MDC, where the risk of violence is high and the conditions are deplorable, Diddy's paranoia may be escalating. According to Levine, Diddy may be so scared for his life that he is refusing to eat, fearing that someone might poison his food or that he could fall victim to a violent attack. Such concerns are not unfounded. Federal prisons have seen instances where inmates were poisoned or attacked by fellow prisoners, or even by corrupt staff members. Levine's comments shed light on the psychological toll that Diddy's incarceration may be having on him. The idea that he is isolating himself and refusing to eat out of fear is deeply unsettling, but it also provides a glimpse into the extreme measures Diddy might take to protect himself. His reluctance to trust anyone, combined with his paranoia, could explain why he is reportedly seeking a kosher diet, which is often seen as a way to gain access to more control over one's food and health in prison. A family in crisis, witness intimidation, and jury tampering. As if the health concerns weren't troubling enough, prosecutors have uncovered further evidence suggesting that Diddy has been trying to influence the outcome of his trial by tampering with witnesses and even attempting to influence the jury pool. According to prosecutors, Diddy has been using his connections to reach out to potential witnesses and victims, urging them to either alter their testimonies or remain silent altogether. This kind of behavior is not only illegal, but also poses a serious threat to the integrity of the legal system. In addition to his attempts to influence witnesses, Diddy is accused of using his family and associates to carry out these manipulations. Prosecutors have claimed that he directed family members to reach out to potential jurors, encouraging them to form favorable opinions of him before the trial even begins. This is a classic example of jury tampering, a criminal offense that can result in severe penalties. The fact that Diddy is allegedly continuing these efforts while behind bars only serves to underscore the seriousness of the situation. The fallout: public opinion, allegations, and Diddy's legacy. Diddy's legal battles have also sparked a public backlash. with many people questioning his character and the true extent of his involvement in the crimes he is accused of. His reputation as a powerful and influential figure has been severely tarnished, and his attempts to manipulate the legal process and influence witnesses have only fueled suspicions about his guilt. Some of his former friends and associates have distanced themselves from him, while others have been outspoken in their condemnation of his actions. The release of a documentary about Diddy's past also adds another layer of complexity to the situation. The Hulu documentary, which is set to be released soon, delves into the story of rapper Shine, who claims he was set up by Diddy during a nightclub shooting involving Diddy and his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez. The documentary casts Diddy in a negative light, further damaging his public image. As more details emerge about Diddy's past, many people are starting to question whether his previous success was built on manipulation and deceit, a battle for redemption or escape. As the legal battle against Sean Diddy Combs intensifies, the stakes have never been higher. The prosecution has meticulously built a case that includes serious allegations of witness tampering, jury manipulation, and attempts to influence the public narrative. With wiretaps and recorded phone calls linking Diddy to efforts to intimidate potential witnesses and sway jurors, the evidence against him seems damning. On the surface, it would appear that his situation is dire, and the possibility of him facing the full weight of the law seems increasingly likely. However, Diddy's extensive network of powerful connections in both the entertainment industry and politics may still provide him with a lifeline. His influence has been demonstrated through his public relationships with key political figures and celebrity allies who have rallied to his side, even as his legal troubles deepen. The question now is whether these connections can shield him from the consequences of his alleged actions, or if they are part of a larger strategy to manipulate the system. As Diddy's efforts to secure bail and avoid full incarceration persist, it's unclear whether he is truly trying to escape the charges, or if he's simply a man caught in a web of circumstances he never anticipated. What's certain is that the drama surrounding Diddy is far from over, and the world will be watching closely as this saga unfolds.